I think we're seeing the final days of Suella Braverman's tenure in the Home Office, and I don't think that that tenure can come to a close fast enough. Frankly, the Home Office is a disaster. If anybody's tried dealing with passports, dealing with visas, dealing with the whole issue of asylum, they will know that the Home Office is literally at a standstill. And part of that is to do with the leadership. Now, of course, the Home Office was in a mess long before Suella Braverman, but Suella Braverman's obsessions with attacking other countries, particularly Pakistan and Albania, her obsessions with transferring blame, her obsessions most recently with the the Palestinian marches and with attacking the police have demonstrated very well why she is unfit for not only the Home Office but for office. She's already fouled up on the ministerial code before. George Osborne, the former Chancellor, has warned Rishi Sunak that he risks looking weak if he doesn't sack Suella Braverman. And Jeremy Hunt, the current Chancellor, has distanced himself from her remarks and her article. This extraordinary article where she lays into the Metropolitan Police and suggests that there is a bias in favour of the left or the Palestinians. I mean, this absurd obsession, which is played out very much in social media, with whether you belong to this camp or that camp. I try very hard to avoid it. I have friends in both camps, by the way, and I talk to them, and we exchange messages. And so the idea that I don't belong to one camp and I don't belong to the other. I don't belong to any camps. And Braverman has described the marches that have been taking place as hate marches. I think there are pockets of the Palestinian marches which have gone too far, which have waved Hamas flags or other flags, inappropriate flags, which have endorsed or encouraged support for banned organisations and organisations which are involved in the terrorist actions of October the 7th. It can only be condemned. But that doesn't make the marches hate marches. And equally, I think people chanting from the river to the sea, this is just a misunderstood chant. It requires education, not an attack by the Home Office. The idea that people are sleeping in tents because they've made a lifestyle choice, again, this is absurd. It's unacceptable goading, and maybe she's goading Sunak to get rid of her. But she should go. She should go because she is bringing the office of state into disrepute. This morning she laid a wreath alongside the foreign minister, cleverly. It is extraordinary that she can show her face less than 24 hours after the chaos that erupted yesterday, on her watch, and effectively with her connivance. Now, is what she has progressively done, from her dreams of Rwanda through to her decision about tents and her attack on the police. Is this evil? I think it is. I think it is. I think morally it touches on that. Is she evil? I hope not. But Can she reform? Yes, I'm sure she can, but not in office. And I think sometimes we have to move aside from a political judgment to a moral judgment. And morally, she is inexcusable. There's more moral duty on the shoulders of those senior politicians who lead our country than there is, for example, on me or somebody else who's making videos. But there is some responsibility. Essentially, we all have to try and do our best. That's not necessarily about whether or not we support one side or the other. It's the search for what is the right thing to do, and that sometimes starts by identifying what is the right position, what is the right point of view, where does the truth lie. And that can change, by the way. That can change as we gain more insight, as we understand more. It changes. It's not hypocritical to move from one position to another as the information changes. As John Maynard Keynes, a wonderful economist and historian, said in, I'm not sure he did actually say it. He's always quoted as saying it is, when the facts change, I change my mind. And that seems perfectly reasonable. In fact, in terms of his life, he certainly moved from one position to another quite dramatically. And rightly so. We cling to one view and we cling to one ideology simply because it's a convenience. But there are many other, even if we cling to that one ideology, we should be listening to what other people are saying in other traditions with other views. Yesterday, one of the most striking photographs that I saw was in the Greek news of the marchers marching across the bridge next to the MI6 offices. A stupendous photograph. Most of the photographs in the BBC and ITV and the British mainstream media were taken on the other side of the Thames and was slightly boring or slightly too aerial. This one had a feeling of size, and it was a spectacular gathering and largely very well behaved. And I've talked about this before, but I think the important thing about Suella Braverman is that she doesn't apologize. She says what she thinks, and the newspapers who support her says, well, she's only saying what other people think. That's not her job. Her job is to lead, not to follow like some bleating sheep. She's supposed to lead the debate, not follow the debate, number one. And number two, she's supposed to promote unity, not division. And on that ground alone, I think she should step aside. But I think she should step aside for her moral well-being, because she needs time to reflect. And I think she needs to spend time making amends. I think she should be contacting, particularly the Prime Minister of Albania, the Crown Prince of Albania, the heads of Pakistan and of other countries who she's offended. And she should spend some time clearing up the mess that she's made. She should be talking to the police. She should be talking to her successor and trying hard to patch up problems, because her leadership has affected and damaged the potential career of those that she is close to. Robert Jenrick, who has become a poodle in all but name to her, I was going to say malice, But I don't think it is malice. I think it's blinkered stupidity. And her hate-mongering. We don't build things by tearing stuff down. We build things by slow and careful assembly. And that is not the example that Suella Braverman has been setting.